We are joined now by North Carolina edge rusher Kaimon Rucker, the pride of Hartwell, Georgia. How are we doing?
I'm good. How about yourself?
So you are Ruck the Butcher. Like I saw your dad's Twitter where he's telling all the little kids to come get your butcher buttons. And I'm just picturing him like with a big bag of them outside Kenan Stadium, just handing out butcher buttons.
Hey, you're not lying. That's probably essentially what he did. At least that's what he's told me. But yeah.
So let's start with the nickname. The Butcher's a great nickname for an edge rusher. It comes from your D-line coach called you something?
Yes, sir. That came from Coach Tim Cross. It was my very first start freshman year against Boston College. And I made a TFL, and the announcers at the time, they saw it, and it was just like, Coach Cross said that I was as aggressive as a rolling ball of butcher now. So that was something that they really enjoyed saying, and my dad caught on to it. And so we was just like, NIL was starting to come into fruition around this time. So he was like, hey, man, we might need to do something with this. And so after a while, we kind of just shortened it down to Ruck the Butcher, or AKA the Butcher. And so, that's when the nickname was made.
I love it. And here's the thing, that is one of my favorite football phrases, but it is almost always used for a running back who weighs more than 230 pounds. So I'm glad that it has migrated to another position, because I can't personally think of anything more terrifying than a ball of butcher knives rolling at me. Like if I'm a quarterback, it's going to strike some fear into my heart.
Hey man, the crazy thing is, man, my football personality and my off the field personality is no different, to be honest. So this is kind of the irony of being called the Butcher and not really being like, of course, my style of play is very aggressive, very physical, but me personally, I'm not that type of guy at all. So that's kind of ironic how I'm getting this name right now.
Well, it's good that you're not like that off the field, but you are like that on the field. But I will take you back to the South Carolina game. There's a play in that game where you take a 320-pound offensive tackle and you throw him into Spencer Rattler. And I don't know how in the world Spencer Rattler got the pass off, but somehow he did. But you took this offensive tackle and just threw him. Now, when you shot your hands on that play, did you think, I'm sending this dude 5 yards back into the quarterback?
Not gonna lie, 9 times out of 10 when I do that, that's kind of my intention. So it's just like, I'm when I pass rush, I'm very I consider myself a speed to power guy. So a lot of my moves is based off of me getting off the rock really quick and then hitting with any type of power move that I have, a long arm, stutter bull, kind of like reducing my shoulder, a chop rip, or that's more your speed rushing move. But in terms of that, so yeah, when I shock my hands, my intention is to either put you on your butt or either put you in the lap of the quarterback so it can affect the throw. So
let's talk about that. You as an edge rusher, because you've dealt with this your entire life. You dealt with it since you were in high school. I'm going to let everybody in the secret now. Kaimon's 6'1".
Yep.
He's not 6'5". He's 6'1". I'm going to ask you, though, because you're 6'1", like you're like 265, right?
Yeah, around that. I kind of dropped weight a little bit. So
okay. How often is the name Dwight Freeney uttered to you?
Dwight Freeney is somebody that I haven't really been compared to. I think people are kind of considering me more of a James Harrison type figure. But I have heard Dwight Freeney in my. I have heard it before. I know Clyde Christensen, one of the coaches that we have on staff. He does call me Dwight Jr. every now and then. So
what's he ever done? What's Clyde Christensen? He only coached the NFL for like 40 years. So
he knows a little bit. With him working with Tom Brady for a long period of time, he definitely knows a thing or two about Dwight Freeney. So, but yeah, I've gotten that little Freeney comparison. I've gotten the James Harrison comparison for sure. And then of course there's some other guys that I've also had like play styles like as well. But those James Harrison and Freeney I have heard.
Well, the James Harrison one, do you follow him on Instagram?
I do actually.
So you see what he's doing in the weight room now.
I can't do what he did. That's the thing. I can't just put like half a ton on a sled and push it. Like I consider myself a very strong individual, but that's a different type of strength. I can't do what he do.
Yeah, 495-pound hip raises Not normal.
No, that's abnormal. Very abnormal.
We'll be back with Kaimon Rucker, North Carolina edge rusher. Huge game coming up against the Miami Hurricanes on Saturday for the Tar Heels. They are in the hunt for the ACC title. It's going to be a lot of fun. You are going to love this guy. But first, I want to tell you about Rhoback, the most comfortable gear you can put on. I am wearing my green performance hoodie right now. Yes, this is the garment I was wearing when I caught a pass in an SEC game last year. That's because Rhoback makes you elite at everything. But also, it's just so comfortable. I've got one of these in almost every color of the rainbow at this point, which is good because there are 4 people in my house and everybody wants to steal one of these things. Rhoback also makes joggers, shorts, performance polos, and the newest thing, the performance crew. Those things are awesome. They look great, very much more polished look, but the same level of comfort. So go to rhoback.com. That is RHOBACK.com. Use the promo code Staples and get 20% off your first order. Rhoback.com, promo code Staples, 20% off your first order. Crave activity. And you put these things on, you're just going to crave comfort because that is where you will be in a world of comfort with Rhoback. Rhoback.com, promo code Staples. So, but you've dealt with this, and it is, for those who've never been recruited to play football, people get obsessed with measurables. And Kaimon, I imagine this is what you had to deal with coming out of high school, is people thinking, well, what are we going to do with this guy who's 6'1", 245? When we're looking for edge rushers, we're looking for 6'5", 225 that we can make 6'5", 265. How did you overcome that?
Honestly, just confidence in myself. Well, for starters, I had faith in my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, just kind of like lead me and just to also just keep me in a peace of mind and a peace of heart. Because I know this is something like that. Hearing like you have all the tangibles, you have all the attributes that we want. Like you get off the ball really well. You have every pass move set that we would like to have in our defense, but you're just too short. Especially with something like me, is like my parents has always told me to control the controllables, which I feel like I've done a great job of. But my height is something that I truly can't control. So for something from at that area of my life, because of me not being highly recruited, is because of something that I can't control physically. It was very dehumanizing in a way. It was just like, I feel like I was worth more than what guys are just putting their eyes on. Like, I know I don't pass the eye test in terms of being the tallest guy, but it was something that I had to work through for sure. But I know for me, my parents kept me motivated. I kept myself motivated. I kept on pushing. That really just lit a fire underneath me to make me go harder each and every game that I had, each and every practices, because it's like, it got to the point where it was like I was sick of people just saying that I was just too short for a certain position, and I didn't want to move because that mean I would prove other people right. So I stayed at this position. I wanted to develop and to show people why it's like, just because I'm short of this position, that doesn't mean I can't play it. So
I heard you tell a great story about your parents and your recruiting process. So you're from Hartwell, Georgia, which is on Lake Hartwell, kind of on the Georgia-South Carolina border, northern part of the state. Mm-hmm. You were at the South Carolina camp, which is not far from your house.
No.
And then you get a call to go to Hattiesburg, Mississippi?
Yeah. Boy, that is that's something that me and my folks like to call the little camp circuit that we used to have. But yeah, I went to Columbia, University of South Carolina. That was when Muschamp was still there as coach. And I did my little stint over there. And yeah, like in the middle of camp, my dad gets a call from one of the guys from Hattiesburg, Southern Mississippi. And it was like, hey, we would love to have Kaimon down here for our kind of like our top recruit camp.
Yeah, the featured camp. Yeah.
Yeah. And so they was like, we would love to have him down. Me and my parents were looking around like, so what we finna do? And I was just like, I mean, we gotta. And for me, like, I wanted to prove myself. So it was like, for me, I was like, I'm down to go if y'all down to go. But I also know it was like, I was very much aware. It's like, if my parents are not willing to make this drive, then I'm not gonna make them make this drive. But my dad, he was hell bent. I was like, listen, nah, we finna go. And my mom, she's always down to ride. So I know she's always here to support, and that's what I love about her too. And then I love that about my dad, that he's always on go with me. So we took the trip down to Mississippi, first time there, and went over there. And then I don't know if you were going to bring this up or not, but I also got a call.
I was going to say, you got another call when you're in
Another
Hattiesburg.
call from that camp saying, hey, we want Kaimon at the Alabama recruiting camp. And so we're just like, all right. So then we drive from Mississippi, make our way to Tuscaloosa, and went over there at that.
And
camp.
this is all in like a 48-hour period. So you go Columbia, South Carolina, Hattiesburg, Tuscaloosa. Yeah.
This is a weekend, like Friday, Saturday.
And your dad's in the middle of working on his PhD at the time, right?
Yep, still getting his doctorate.
Golly, that was. But what does that tell you? Like, when you think about what your parents were willing to do to help you chase that dream, how much does that just make you appreciative of them?
Whew, man, I thank God for them every day. Like, there's not a day that doesn't go by that I don't thank God for them. Just the constant sacrifices that they made for me in my entire life. And I know, like, right now it's just like, it's kind of weird that I'm 21 and I'm just now, it's like hindsight is 2020. So it's just like, of course, like right now I'm saying this, but it's just like at the time I didn't see it as much, but I was definitely appreciative of everything that they done for me. But now that I'm older and now I look back over the journeys that I've taken, whether that I've gotten hurt and trying to come back from things and dealing with a lot of stressors from my sport or just academics, and just the constant sacrifices that they were willing to make for me in order for me to become successful, and just to always be there for me, to always love me. And I couldn't thank God enough for them, because they're great. They're a great family. They're great. I would recommend a Kendall and Chrissy Rucker to anybody. I love my parents to death, man. I'll do anything for them, and I thank God for them each and every day, because they have definitely made so many sacrifices in my life that I don't even know of, but without them, I would not be here at this university. So I thank them. I love them. So.
Well, I imagine they're very, very proud to see you here doing all this stuff. And I thinking about your timeline. So you were a freshman in 2020 during the COVID year, and you've seen so much change in college sports just in the time you've been in it, the real short time. So you come into the COVID year, NIL comes that second year. You guys get a new defensive coordinator, and everything changes your third year. What's it been like going through all these crazy changes?
Honestly, just for me, it's just like, control what you can control. It's the same motto that I used back in high school, because I know it's just like, I feel like when I came into college, I was very much aware of like the situation that I was going to step into. Like, of course, COVID is coming around, and I was very, like I said, I was very aware. It didn't waver me too much. Like, I was, just head down, keep on working, and whatever happened outside of that happened. And so, COVID, like you said, I came in the COVID class, and that was definitely a weird time. Felt like a fever dream. Playing in empty stadiums on Saturdays, it felt like essentially a scrimmage that you would have in high school. And then, of course, NIL came the second year, and that was taken over. And then, of course, like you said, my third year, former defensive coordinator was released, and then Coach Chiswick came in. So it definitely was a lot of changes, but honestly, I just kind of, like I said, like I did my high school year when I was dealing with my recruitment, I stayed in my faith, prayed to God about everything that I was dealing with, talked to my parents about everything that I was dealing with, and just controlled anything that I could control in my own space.
Let's talk about what you've done on the field this year, because you've already surpassed your season total in sacks from last year. You already have 4 sacks. You got 7.5 tackles for loss. It feels like you guys as a defense are playing so much better than you did this time last year. What has changed?
Honestly, I feel like our confidence. I feel like definitely what also plays a big role in this is because we're used to Coach Chiswick's mantra now. And so his mantra is to wreak havoc. And so our first year was kind of a little difficult because he's stepping into a team that he's not really familiar with. So, but now since he's in the second year, he understands like everybody's contribution to the defense, everybody's skill set. He knows who everybody is. So now he's just like, all right, I'm finna take off the leash and finna let everybody rush. We're finna apply pressure and wreak havoc. Get interceptions, get tackles for loss, sacks, BPUs, anything you name it. So I feel like for us, that's kind of like we've applied Coach Chiswick's mantra, and that's to wreak havoc. We've preached that, especially this past January, and just locking in our fundamentals and executing the play calls that we're given, and it's worked out for us.
Is that more fun? The wreaking havoc style of defense?
Oh, most definitely. It's so much fun. Whether that you're making a play personally or seeing everybody else make a play, man, it's a sight to see, and I love it.
So you were talking about how you're a different person off the field, and you get to do some pretty cool stuff. Like you were the MC of the Rammy Awards, which is the North Carolina Athletic Department award show, which that's pretty awesome. You got like song and dance stuff. But I got to ask you about the national anthem, because you were asked to sing the national anthem there at the Final Four. Like, this isn't you going out at like a UNC soccer game and singing the national. This is at the Final Four in New Orleans. North Carolina and Duke are about to play in a national semifinal, and you're up there with a Kansas golfer and a Villanova swimmer and a Duke soccer player, and you're singing the freaking national anthem in front of the whole country. What was that like?
As I told many people before, the singing part wasn't nerve-wracking. Like, the performance part of it, like just seeing everybody, that wasn't what's making me nervous. It was what was getting on the court that made me nervous. So, like, of course, everybody knows, like a lot of people know, when you hit the Final Four, they start to have the elevated courts. And so to get on those courts, you gotta have some steep steps to go up.
Mm-hmm.
And those steps were so steep. And I was so nervous that I wasn't going to trip up. Like, I was so confident in my singing ability. Like, I know everybody and myself included was going to kill it. But getting up those steps, because my legs felt like jello, I didn't think I was going to make it up on that court. So that was really the most jarring part about the whole experience, was just getting up those steps. And there were only 3 steps.
I have tripped over steps, like, because I've covered a bunch of Final Fours. So I have tripped over those steps before. I know exactly what you were worried about. The difference is when I did it, nobody was looking at me.
Man, I'm telling you, that was the most nervous part about it all, because the cameras were following us up the steps. So I was like, if I fall on live television, I will be the laughing stock. My teammates are going to make fun of me. The staff's going to make fun of me. My family's going to make fun of me. The whole nation is going to make fun of me. So I was like, I cannot mess this up.
Well, and also, you're going on national television. You're representing the University of North Carolina. I feel like the highest pressure choice is what Jordans do you wear for that occasion?
Yeah. I just went classic ones, honestly. I think I had the Jordan 1 Obsidians, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So I just kind of rocked that. I feel like it definitely went with my color scheme. And, of course, I had to rock the UNC varsity jacket as well, and, of course, my merch underneath. So I feel like that was the best way for me to rock my stuff, and also the UNC apparel as well.
Well, that's right. You got to put your merch. That's all available on the internet. So if you're watching this interview right now and you want some Ruck the Butcher merch,
yes, ruckthebutcher.com. You know where to find it.
Love it. All right. So we did talk about the Jordans you wore there, but I feel like guys who play at Carolina probably have very strong opinions about this. Probably have, a better idea about this than a lot of people, because you're a Jordan brand school. Obviously, he went there. Best Jordan design. What is your favorite pair of Jordans throughout the history of Jordans?
Ooh. You put me on the spot. If I had to go with one, I love the Jordan 4s.
Okay.
I love the Jordan.
I love those. Like the concrete.
Yeah. So it's just something about like the style of the shoe, like, and it can go with any type of colorway. And I'm a ones guy. I love Jordan 1s too, but it's like I'm a sucker for Jordan 4s. Like, I have the metallic purples, the lightning yellows. Like, I have so many different colorways with Jordan 4s. So I'm a sucker for those. I love that. I love that style. I like that.
When the Jordan 4s actually came out, when they were first out, I was living in South Florida. I remember my mom would take me to the Cutler Ridge Mall, and I'd walk into Champs or Foot Locker and see them sitting there. And I was like, oh. They were like, I think they were $90 at the time. So this was like, this is the late
90?
'80s, $90. And but that was it may as well have been $1 million. My mom was never going to spend $90 on shoes, but that was kind of the shoe I always like, if I ever can afford. But it's funny because the first pair I bought later in life, when I could buy a re-release, I bought 11s because my first day at Champs in the mall in 1995, the Jordan 11 Concords were out. So that was the white with the black patent leather.
Ooh,
can't beat it.
I was like, you can't beat that one.
So it is amazing, but I imagine that's a frequent debate probably among UNC athletes. Like, what is the best Jordan ever?
You would be shocked that we don't really talk about it that much. Huh. I mean, like, it's kind of funny with us. I could say we a little spoiled. So with like the Jordan schools, it's like it don't matter what kind of Jordans you getting Jordans. So so it's like it's one of those things where it's like you can't really, beggars can't be choosers. So you getting Jordans at the end of the day, you getting something a lot of people don't get. So you just kind of sit back and be grateful.
Well, what a life! Think about when you were burning down I-20 with your parents, trying to get to Hattiesburg to show what you could do. Did you ever imagine you'd be sitting here? You guys are playing against Miami on Saturday. You're undefeated. It's going to be a packed house. The whole country's going to be watching. I mean, can you believe this is your life?
Man, sometimes I tend to sit back and look at it and be like, man, it's crazy how I'm doing this right now. I'm living my childhood dream. That's the best way I could put it, honestly. It's just like, looking over this, just like having a chance to look at practice, looking at the games, looking at the process. Like, a lot of people let that fly by. It goes over a lot of people's heads. And, it's like when it comes down to playing football and the process of it all, it becomes clockwork. And I can honestly say it does. But when you actually sit back and realize as much as you've done, as much as I've done the past 3.5 years that I've been here, going on 4, you start to realize it's crazy how I'm living this life right now. This is something that my younger self would have loved to like idolize, just to watch. Like, you watch like your 30 for 30s, you watch all these guys playing in the Under Armour All-American games, and like they finally get to college, and you see these college games on Saturdays, waking up with your pops, your granddads, your uncles, and watching these games. Like, as a kid, like, that motivated you. You wanted to do these things. You enjoyed watching these things. And now that I'm actually being on the other side, on TV, other people watching, me being an inspiration to other people, my team, my teammates being an inspiration to other people, saying like, I want to do that. Then and that used to be me. And so it's just like, now it's like, it's so wild, but I couldn't thank God enough, man. This is truly a blessing, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. I know I've had a crazy journey to get here, but like I said, I wouldn't change it for the world at all.
Kaimon Rucker, the butcher to his friends. Good luck against the Canes on Saturday.
Appreciate you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you so much for watching. Just a reminder, subscribe to this channel right here so you never miss an episode of Andy Staples On 3. And oh, by the way, watch all the other great videos on the On3 Sports YouTube channel.